This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. I always talk about predictive programming on this channel, but also how all of these television shows and all of these Netflix series and all of these movies that come out, they come out to program you into accepting future events, but also into accepting what their plan is for us. And by their plan, I'm talking about globalists, I'm talking about the New World Order, I'm talking about people in power now who are going to dictate the rest of our lives by doing things like removing jobs, forcing us to eat certain foods, take away gas-powered vehicles and force you into what they call renewable energy, which is really controllable energy. And this show came out in the fall, and I was not aware of this, but everybody out there needs to see this, because this is a perfect example to show people out there that they're doing things like this to condition you for future events, to get you to accept a world that looks like this. They don't make these shows because this is a great concept. They make these shows so that you could start getting programmed in your mind of what a life would be like on universal basic income. Because when people hear universal basic income, they don't understand what it means. So they're trying to condition people into thinking that it's free money from the government and you don't have to work anymore. And suddenly you have all this free time, and what are you going to do with it? You're going to go golfing? You're going to take up flying lessons? You're going to travel the world? Well, they tell you these things to get you to think that this is a good concept, to get you to accept this when the government rolls this out and tells you that you've been replaced by artificial intelligence. And they say, don't worry about it. AI is a good thing. There shouldn't be a revolution against AI. Don't you think about destroying technology and going after these tech companies. No, accept it, because what it's going to do is it is going to get you to just stay at home and play video games and then get paid for it by the government. But the reality is that that's not what it looks like. Universal basic income is not a good thing, because when the government starts giving you checks and you're sitting at home and have nothing to do and don't know what to do with your time, you're going to start living like a pauper. And even if you live like a pauper now, this gives the government more control, and it keeps these rich people like Bill Gates, like Elon Musk, in power over all of us. They start moving you into communities, smart cities, etc. It is the worst possible thing and the worst possible outcome for humanity. But they're convincing people that it's a good thing, because people start hearing, oh, AI could do this better. It could do it faster. You're not needed anymore. And they go, well, I'm not needed anymore. Then what? And they go, well, we'll send you checks. And they go, you'll send me checks? Not have to do anything? Yeah, we'll send you $3,000 a month, because that's the premise of this Fox cartoon. Of course, they use cartoons because cartoons are the easiest way to program people. I've gone into detail about this for a long, long time, about cartoons being used in MK Ultra. A lot of the films that they would show young children when they put them through trauma-based mind control would be exotic films in the form of cartoons to train them and teach them, and they're still doing it to this day. So there's a show called Universal Basic Guides. They're just on Fox of all networks, which tells you this isn't something that's some small cable network. It's not on Comedy Central. Obviously, it's not even funny. It's on Fox, and they kind of put this in between The Simpsons and Family Guy, those popular shows, because they want you to watch it, because they're doing this to condition you. The premise of the show, before I show you the trailer, Universal Basic Guides is an American animated sitcom created by Adam and Craig Malamut that premiered on September 8th, 2024 on Fox. The show centers around a group of South Jersey factory workers who are enrolled in a universal basic income pilot program when their jobs are taken over by AI-powered robots and left with a monthly income and a lot of free time to get into trouble, right? Oh, a lot of free time to get into trouble. Well, they're getting free money. What are you going to do with all your allotted time, right? This is a common theme we hear the billionaires say. I just covered this with Bill Gates, who was on Jimmy Fallon's show. Videos available on the website, because of course it's been removed from here, where he's talking about how AI is going to take over everything, that humans aren't going to be needed anymore. And everyone in the crowd kind of laughs, groans, and then applauds, because like the sheeple that they are. And he says, well, the big question is, what are people going to do with their time? Well, they're trying to tell you now, to convince you, in case you think about revolting against tech and artificial intelligence, that, well, they're trying to say, look, this is great. We're going to throw money into your pocket. You're going to be able to do whatever you want, right? And of course, that's not what this is about. That's about you accepting the tech and then thinking that this is going to be beneficial to you, and then you could live like a rich person and you could live and do all these fun activities. But the reality of the matter is, This is mass extinction that they're building around things like universal basic income and keeping human beings divided with one another so that they don't actually, they don't actually come together and say, hey, the reason that we hate one another, the reason we're fighting with one another over politics is because all these people in the media are telling us to. They're telling us to hate our neighbor and to look at somebody differently based on their gender or their skin color. Meanwhile, at the same time, they're the ones telling us we're going to be replaced by AI, and nobody's going, well, why don't we stop these people? Why don't we go to Silicon Valley and shut down these big tech companies? Because as human beings, we have the right to do that. Well, nobody's thinking in terms of a revolution, of course, because everybody's thinking in terms of division. But here is the trailer for this show, and watch how this is just incredible. This is mind control at its finest. That's why I'm showing it to you. They are conditioning people into thinking that this is fun, this is neat, and preparing them for universal basic income. This is airing on Fox. Take a look.
These dudes are getting $3,000 a month, no strings attached.
Oh, hell yeah.
So what are they gonna do?
Let's go!
Learn to fly, buy a monkey.
That's a dream pet right there.
Build a super suit.
Woo! You can't wait 5 seconds for the door to open?
Save a child, catch a whale, hit the slopes.
Hang on! Oh, nailed it. Golf sucks. I'm done.
Universal basic guys.
And somehow this show has been picked up for another season. So you saw them, hey, we're getting $3,000. Can we learn to fly? Can we buy a monkey? Can we play golf? No strings attached. We can get all this money. And they show you, of course, as if they're living in a nice home. They don't tell you that the plan with universal basic income at the same time that they're using weaponized weather to destroy people's homes. And of course, they're going to force you out of your mortgage when you're making universal basic income because you're going to be able to pay your mortgage. But you'll be able to live in one of these little cubicles that they designed for you called FEMA camps, kind of like the ones we saw in Lahaina. Right? They'll throw, what's your favorite color? I like neon green. Well, we'll paint it neon green for you. What? You'll paint my prison cell neon green? Great. And look, we all have the same exact little cubicle we live in. It's like Ready Player One, right? And they're conditioning. And this is not a concept that is out of right field. This is what the plan has been all along. Universal basic income, a proposed social welfare program where all citizens regularly receive a fixed sum of money regardless of their income, employment status, or other conditions. This unconditional cash payment aims to ensure a basic standard of living for everyone, offering a safety net and potentially reducing poverty and inequality. Okay, these are the things people need to get past. Because, of course, anybody with a soul, nobody wants to see somebody living in poverty, right? Inequality. These are terms that they're using so that they could level off the middle class and then let everybody live in poverty and everybody live in inequality. Just the dystopian reality will be that you're not living in poverty when you are. Because suddenly when you're not allowed to go and buy your favorite food at the store anymore and you're forced to eat what they tell you to eat and you're forced to be able to go, you're allowed to be able to go outside within a lot of period of time, but you're forced into these little homes that they make for you. You're supposed to applaud and clap, right? And say it's so nice of the government to do it for us, right? Kind of like after Lahaina. The government comes out, well, we're going to give these people homes, and they put these nice fancy videos out. All these people had their homes burned to the ground. They're getting put in these little FEMA cubicles. And then they're going, isn't that nice of the government? But if those people knew that the government was responsible for burning their homes to the ground in the first place, you think they'd be cheering about the little cubicles the government's given to them? Of course not. Of course not. But they want you to think, well, look what the government's doing for us. They're helping us out. Our homes got caught in a natural wildfire, and now the government came in and is giving us assistance. That's what the government's supposed to do, right? But you don't realize that they're the ones burning your house to the ground in the first place. Now, universal basic income is getting reworded. Because, of course, there's people out there that aren't suckers, people like me and the people who listen to this channel. So what Elon Musk has tried to do is start using terms like universal basic high income, the concept where everyone receives a regular high-level income regardless of their employment status or financial need. This is a more ambitious version of universal basic income, where the basic income is sufficient to meet not just basic needs, but also allow for a higher standard of living, right? So you get your $3,000 check, then all of a sudden, your groceries go up 3 times, and then your $3,000 check is pretty much 2 trips to the grocery store. Then you're wondering to yourself, what about everything else? And they say, well, we'll give you electricity for 3 hours a day. You don't have to pay it anymore. I don't have to pay electricity anymore? Yeah, but you only get it for 3 hours a day. All right. Lights out at 8. Life as a prisoner. All right. And this is obviously a major concern because nobody's paying attention other than to the things that Elon Musk is doing with Doge in regards to, the IRS. They're saving you money. Your money's not going to Iraqi Sesame Street anymore, right? The things you see Elon Musk doing right now with Doge, taking jobs away from government employees. Everyone out there's cheering because everyone out there's going, and the conservatives at least, they're going, well, we don't like these government employees anyway. They're the worst. The government's the worst. Well, yeah, they are. They are. No doubt about it, right? But this is coming for you as well. Because at the same time that they're firing all these government workers, nobody's going, well, who's going to replace them? They're going, well, they're not really needed. Then you start going, well, don't we kind of need that? Or, well, we're not going to have taxes anymore. Well, you are. So who's going to replace the IRS agents, right? All the propaganda you've seen about the 10,000 IRS agents, the IRS agents being armed and training with guns over the years. They've shown you this in the news for a reason, right? Nobody likes the IRS, okay? That's pretty clear. But they're not going to abolish it. What they're going to do is they're going to say, well, you're going to have a universal basic income and you're going to have a universal carbon footprint. So you will be taxed. Everything will have a carbon tax to it. So when you buy something that we don't want you to buy, you'll pay a lot more for that. And then you'll run out of universal basic income for the month. And that'll be that. And that'll be the end of the story. And of course, if you behave badly, we'll take it out of your universal basic income, right? This is what they're creating. It's a human enslavement system. And Elon Musk is getting looked at as this hero. And every single New World Order initiative is attached to Elon Musk, from the carbon tax to things like universal basic income. Here are some clips of universal basic income that shows you, it tells you that this is what their plan is. And this is how sinister they are. This is what they want for us. We're going to replace you with AI. You should be happy that we're not killing you, even though at the same time we are trying to kill you. We're trying to get you to poison yourself by making you scared of viruses. We're also going to be taking your homes away by using weaponized weather that nobody believes is real, by popping up 500 tornadoes a day in the middle of nowhere and having it go from West Coast to East Coast and nobody being suspicious about why there's so many. And all these people just lose their homes and have nowhere to live, but the government will come in. Here's your FEMA, here's your FEMA, here's your FEMA, here's your smart city. Come on in, right? Here are all these people talking about universal basic income. And remember, if this is what they want, and this is what the plan is, they have to condition you into thinking it's a good thing and that they're being nice to you and it's going to be fun for you and that you're going to get this allotted money and you don't have to get up and go to work anymore, right? That's the point of the show, Universal Basic Guys, because this is the point that they want to push down your throat because this is what's coming, because there's no resistance or pushback from us.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. Okay. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. And if my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary. Now, the output of goods and services will be extremely high. So with automation, there will come abundance. There will be almost everything will get very cheap. I think the biggest. I think we'll just end up doing a universal basic income. It's going to be necessary. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
I do think there's a pretty good chance we end up with a universal basic income or something like that due to automation. I'm not sure what else one would do. There's, but that's kind of, I think, what would happen. And people have time to do other things and more complex things, more interesting things, so they're more leisure time. And then we've got to figure out how we integrate with a world in the future with advanced AI.
This morning, new insight into whether a universal basic income could one day be sustainable. It's from a study conducted by Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, who has warned about major job losses across certain industries as artificial intelligence grows more powerful.
The speed of the change that may happen here is the part that I worry about the most.
Altman's study gave 1,000 low-income people $1,000 per month over a 3-year period. It was free money, no strings attached. It's something former presidential candidate Andrew Yang supported during the 2020 campaign.
This would create millions of jobs, make our children and families stronger, and give all Americans a better chance to transition in the economy of the 21st century.
Altman's study found people mostly spent the extra money on basics, such as food, rent, and transportation. The largest increase in their spending was to help family and friends with their bills. Many people also put money in the bank. On average, with the extra money, they worked about 1 hour less per week. The research was conducted amid concerns that artificial intelligence will eventually make millions of jobs obsolete, leaving many people scrambling to find new ways to make a living.
With every great technological revolution in human history, although it has been true that the jobs change a lot, some jobs even go away. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of that here.
Critics dismiss the idea of a universal basic income as un-American, comparing it to socialism, saying it would lead to dependency and suffocate innovation in the economy. But tech industry titans, including Elon Musk, Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey, and the so-called godfather of artificial intelligence, Geoffrey Hinton, support it.
So I'm very worried about AI taking over lots of mundane jobs, and that should be a good thing. It's going to lead to a big increase in productivity, which leads to a big increase in wealth. And if that wealth was equally distributed, that would be great.
The study also found with the extra $1,000 each month, people initially had less financial stress, but that stress eventually returned 2 or 3 years later.
So that's the hell on earth that they have planned for humanity. Does it look fun to you? Does it sound fun? Shouldn't people be saying, is there a need for AI, or do people want to continue to just live the way they live? Now, there's, of course, people out there that are lazy naturally. The system that they've created makes people just want to sit home and play video games. It's understandable from some standpoints, because when you go through the school system and you come out of it and they're telling you, oh, you're going to go sit at a desk at in a cubicle somewhere, and you have a communications degree, you just kind of feel worthless, right? You're like, I don't even know what I went to school for. What was the point of this, right? Because from a young age, they don't ingrain in you, hey, learn trades. You know how to farm. This person is a carpenter. This person is, a veterinarian. They don't really give you trades to make you feel useful. They kind of just get you to chase things or go into majors and stuff like that that really have nothing of value. And of course, when people are done going through the training for 20 years, and it's really about indoctrinating them with fake lies and everything else, they're sitting there and they're going, man, I sit at a desk. I just got a new job. I'm excited. 2 months go by. They're going, this is pretty pointless. I'm just sitting there picking up the phone. I wish I could have more days off. Oh, I wish I could just stay home and play Call of Duty. Oh, and the government goes, well, you can. They go, what? They go, yeah. We're just going to move forward with AI. So do you want this universal basic income? Yeah, well, yeah, I do, because I'll be making the same amount of money, right? Not paying attention to how prices are going up and they're phasing everybody out. I'll get $3,000 a month. That sounds like a lot. That's what I make anyway, right? And everybody starts cheering for it, not realizing that, well, your $3,000, it starts this way by you accepting this life of the government giving you handouts. And then all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, I'm not allowed to make more money than the $3,000. Nope. I'm not allowed to, if I'm a hard worker, I want to, strive for more and a better. Nope. This is it. This is your universal high income, right? Here's your ceiling, $5,000. You can't go above that. $3,000 for the people who don't want to work. Oh, you want to work? Well, you can get $5,000, equal pay. Everyone goes, oh, okay, I guess that's better than nothing. Next thing you know, you're looking around and you're going, wow, am I in a prison cell? All of a sudden, I can't even afford anything with my universal basic income. And the government goes, yeah, times are, look, this is what's happening. We're having a shortages here, shortages there. Just be happy we're giving you a handout. And then you look around and you go, how did this even happen in the first place? Well, you were divided. We kept coming on TV talking about how AI was going to end humanity and kill everyone. You did nothing about it. And we moved forward with it, and now we're here. People should be pushing back, but they're not. Technology is the worst addiction in the history of humanity. The phone is the worst addiction we've ever seen in our lives and in any lifetime. They'll never talk about that on TV because they don't want people to snap out of it and go, you know what? If we go forward with this stuff, we're giving up all control of our lives to the government. Digital IDs, doing banking online where they could freeze your account, no more currency, just digital currency. Yeah, you're giving it all up. Why? because you're addicted to it. You can't stop looking at your phone, so you don't want to think about it because you can't imagine 15 minutes without being able to look at your text messages, right? That's the disease that's out there. And if people don't push back against tech now, and they go forward with universal basic income, which they will, they'll continue to condition you into this stuff. And they're also conditioning people into thinking that AI is great for humanity when it's not. There's no benefit of this at all. We're all human. We should be banding together and saying, I don't want Amazon workers to lose their job. I don't care if they're Democrats or Republicans, right? But what have we seen over the last couple of years? We've seen this divide where these people are so insane and unhinged that during the outbreak, when all conservatives were getting fired from their jobs because they wouldn't take poison, the Democrats were cheering for it, right? And now you see this other side where, oh, now the Democrats feel like they're losing their jobs. And all the conservatives are going, good, fire them. I don't care how they make a living. When everyone should be going, you know what? I don't care what someone's politics are. They got kids at home, right? They got a right to earn. We're not going to take their job away because these rich billionaires want to put a machine in there so they don't have to pay off employees anymore. But the reason people won't revolt are things like this. Because they think that these people care about them. They think that these guys, they roll out on these TV shows, these talk shows like Bill Gates, that, hey, you know, they're talking about ending humanity, but these guys, they care about humanity, right? They're philanthropists. They're giving their money to third world countries, and they want to make sure that we're all equal. That's all they hear. They don't realize that, wait a minute, what you're doing is you're killing off the rest of us. You're just going to have this pile of money that you print anyway, and you're going to live and travel as you want to freely, and the rest of us are going to be enslaved by digital IDs, digital technology, and of course, by not having the ability to go anywhere once you bring out the carbon footprint and everything else that they have planned. So incredible that there's a show out there. I mean, who's watching this? There are apparently people because they're coming back for another season, right? Universal Basic Guides. How anyone could see this and not realize that this is programming to condition and train you into thinking that universal basic income is cool, right? Because when it comes out, people go, like that show, Universal Basic Guys? Yeah, like that show. They're like, oh, that was so funny, that show. They were like going to the bar. You know, they show them holding up their checks. Everybody's cheering. They have an old guy, young guy, black guy, white guy, right? Everyone's like, everyone's equal. We're all getting the same amount of money. No strings attached. I don't have to do anything. They're just going to send me a check. Yeah. Oh, and they're telling you they can learn to fly and do all these things. Well, of course not. You're not going to be flying anywhere because it's all coming together, right? Carbon footprint coming in with universal basic income. You ain't going on vacation. Right? You think about, oh, can I do some projects at my home? Sure, but then you're not going to be able to afford your mortgage anymore. The banks are going to take it away, and you're going to go, where am I going to live now? Right? But this is all going to come little by little once society accepts this and says this is the way forward because of artificial intelligence. You go, okay, this is the way forward. And you just keep giving control over to these people, the shadow government that you don't know. And you should know one thing about them, that they're the ones responsible for all the division that's going on in the world right now. And that you wouldn't feel this way if you were a Republican about a Democrat and vice versa if they weren't doing it by design. Everybody's focus and attention should be on these big tech corporations that run and control everything, these oligarchs, these psychopaths. Let's just call them that. Let's not give them even the dignity of calling them an oligarch. Let's call them psychopaths. They're psychopaths hell-bent on control of your every single movement, because that's what this comes down to. Universal basic income in the form of digital currency, where they can track and monitor how you spend your universal basic income and then tell you how you can and cannot spend it. And if they don't like how you spend it, you get taxed a carbon tax. And if you speak against the government online, like say do a video like this, oh my goodness, all of a sudden you don't get your universal basic income. How will you live? Oh, maybe I'll go out and get a new job. Oh wait, you can't go out and get a job. Oh, maybe I'll go try to do this. You can't go out and farm. You're not allowed to do anything anymore. You're a prisoner, all right? And we're listening to you right now because you have an Alexa in your home. You have a smartphone in your home. You have a smart TV in your home, in your home, right? We're in your home with you, right? And you've created a prison cell through technology. So for people not to be able to see how ridiculous this would never be a show, ever. And they all got it together. They sat around. They go, we need to start conditioning people into this so that when we tell everyone this is it, people will start saying, because it's how programming works, they'll start saying, like that show? And they're like, well, that looks pretty good. Looks like they're having a fun time. They're driving machines through walls or doing everything they want to do. They're living their dream. I want that too. And that's how programming works. They condition you and program you in accepting this stuff. And watch, when it comes out, people will be like, oh, this guy's a conspiracy nut. He's saying that there's going to be carbon. They're just giving a universal basic income. And it looks like fun. I've seen the shows. It looks great, right? Until once it's in place and they start taking things away and charging you more and taxing you more on how you behave. That's it. It's as simple as that. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.